How to smooth your 3D prints from this to this in just a few easy steps.
The best way I found to remove the layer lines on your 3D prints is a little bit of resin and some sanding. The resin I like to use is the ABS-like Resin Pro 2 from Anycubic, but you can use any other resins that you may have. I like to use this because it cures fast with a UV light. This is everything you will need for the process. You need your resin, your isopropyl alcohol, it could be 70 or 90%, anywhere in between that. Your paintbrush, it can be a sponge brush or any other brush. Most importantly is your gloves. Your gloves, it can be rubber gloves, it can be any gloves. They're important because if you spill your resin on your hands, it could leave a serious rash and burn. Next, you will need a UV light, but if you do not want to get the UV light, you can just use the sun because the sun produces UV rays. Something that you don't absolutely need, but I recommend, is a silicone mat. The silicone mat allows you, if you spill your resin onto your mat when you are applying it to your 3D prints, if you spill it, you can hit it with a UV light, it will harden, and then you can just pick it right off and throw it away. But you can use a piece of paper or paper towel to act as a mat.
So now that you have everything, you can start filling your layer lines on your 3D prints. First step, you'll want to pour your resin into, it could be a paper or a plastic cup. It's just something that you can throw away after you're done. You don't want to use like a glass bowl and then put that in the dishwasher because it could be toxic. Make sure you put the cap back on. Now you can take your brush, dip it into the resin. You don't have to use a lot. Make sure it doesn't drip. And then just gently put it on. Make sure there are no bubbles. Once you are fully satisfied with everything you have done, you can then hit it with a UV light, or you can put it out in the sun, but just make sure that your resin does not go into the sunlight or your UV light because it will harden. And that's it. It's fully hardened. You may want to do 3 or 4 coats. That's what I normally do, but do it until it is mostly smooth, and then you will want to hit it with your isopropyl alcohol. That's what you do with isopropyl alcohol. You can take just some paper towel, squirt it onto the and then it just cleans the surface, so then you are able to touch it with your bare hands. Wait for it to dry, and then it's ready for you to sand.
So now that you have all your resin layers on, you can now hit your model with some 120 grit sandpaper to remove any imperfections, like any bubbles or any overlapping resin, like right here. Sand it until all of your imperfections are gone, and it is smooth to what you like. Now that you have sanded your model, you can now hit it with some Rust-Oleum filler primer. This allows you to see your imperfections, and it fills in some of your imperfections, the smaller ones. Do 3 light coats before you go on and sand off your imperfections.
So now that you have hit your model with some Rust-Oleum filler primer, you can go ahead and sand away any of your small imperfections that you might have missed with your resin. But if there are any large imperfections like I have right here, large layer shift, you can hit it with some Bondo glazing and spot putty. This allows you to fill in any of your medium size imperfections. Just take a little bit. Smooth it out onto your model. Now wait 5 to 10 minutes for it to dry, and then you can hit it with some 120 grit or 220 grit sandpaper to sand it smooth. And then repeat the process until you are satisfied with how smooth it is. So just once it's dry, you sand it, hit it with some more Rust-Oleum filler primer, and then more glazing and spot putty. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new, make sure to like and subscribe for more tips on 3D prints and cosplays. If you want to do this process, I have the link in the description for all of the resources I used on this